Good morning all once again. So welcome to this session. Okay, so we'll discuss the first order systems first. Okay, so in the previous session, so it is a time domain analysis we have discussed, like natural response and forced response, steady state and transient response, then various standard inputs we have discussed. Okay, so what we are going to do, okay, so just to recall, okay, in the previous modules we tried to do the models for control systems. Okay, and one of the model is famously used was transfer function model. So in transfer function model, so what we will do, so we'll find out the output by input in the Laplace transform. Here y of s, r of s is there. Okay, that is the transfer function, it is shown here. Okay, so now what we are going to do in time domain analysis is we are going to find out the y of t. Okay, so how to find out this y of t? Okay, so that is what our discussion. Okay, so now for this case only, so y of s by r of s is there. Okay, and we don't know which inputs to give, right? So here r of s is the input, and we don't know what are the cases it may come for this control system. That's why we'll refer the standard signals. Okay, step, ramp, parabolic, impulse, sinusoidal, like that we have standard signals. Okay, standard waveforms we have, so we'll include that as r of s. So this y of s equal to this transfer function into r of s. This r of s, whatever is there in denominator, we will bring it over here. Okay, and depending on the type of input. Okay, for example, in your syllabus now only unit step they have told. Unit step means what? So it is just amplitude is 1. Okay, so 1 by s is its Laplace transform. R of s becomes 1 by s. Okay, so only that we are discussing. Along with, you can consider ramp, so it becomes a very big module. Okay, so that is not, they have not considered. So only the sudden change in the system. Okay, sudden change means what? 0 to 1 change. Okay, so that type of input is step input, so that they have considered, and that you have to input. Then using the last time you have done inverse Laplace transform, you have to find out the y of t. So that is what your discussion, that's what we are going to do the for first order and second order systems. So before we do that, so you should know what is meant by first order systems, what is second order system, and then their response. Okay, so we'll start with first order systems. Okay, so order of a system is the highest power of s in the denominator of a closed loop transfer function. So you have something called as order. When I say order, which is nothing but the highest power of s. S is the function in the Laplace domain, right? In the denominator of a closed loop transfer function. Okay, that is called as order. Okay, so now we'll consider system with only one pole are called first order systems. When I'm discussing transfer function, I told you about the poles and zeros aspect. Okay, even in signals and system you are discussing in jet transform and all, but it is jet transform, now it is Laplace transform. Okay, so poles we have discussed. Okay, poles are nothing but the roots of the characteristic equation in the denominator of the transfer function. Okay, so here if you have only one pole, we call it as the first order systems. Okay, we'll consider a small block diagram. It is the general block diagram or standard block diagram of a first order system. So it applies to anything. It may be an electrical system, mechanical system, any system, any control system. This is the standard block diagram. Okay, so it is having a input r of s, the summing point. Okay, then you have the forward transfer function. It is given by 1 by tau s. So tau indicates the timing constant, and y of s is the output, and 1 is the feedback element, and that is given to the summing point. Okay, so this is a this one block diagram. So if you write the transfer function of this, how you write that? So this new part is, we will consider g, and this part as h. Okay, and you apply the eliminating minor feedback loop, or if you use the standard formula, so it is g divided by 1 plus gh, because here minus sign is there. Okay, so if you consider that, so you will get y of s by r of s transfer function equal to So G is 1 by tau s. I have directly written. So you have to do the simplification. Okay. So what you will get here is in the numerator G, that is 1 by tau s, divided by, in the denominator you have 1 plus G into H. So G is again 1 by tau s into H. H is 1, so no need to consider that. So now take the LCM, what you will get? So tau s in the denominator you will get tau into s plus 1 divided by tau s, and this tau s, tau into s, and this tau into s will cancel out. So what is remaining is in the numerator 1, and in the denominator you will get tau into s plus 1. Okay, so now this, if you write it, s is taken common, so this can be written in the denominator as 1 divided by, so s I am taking outside, sorry, tau I am taking outside by tau. Okay, 1 plus s into tau, or okay, let it be like this. Okay, so we'll show that. So this is the transfer function. You will get it for first order system. Okay, so now this is, we will show you the analysis. Before that, we'll take examples also. So here tau is nothing but the system time constant. So it is the future in the first order system. It characterizes the speed of response of a system to an input. Okay, time constant. Okay, if you have applied a this one, right, gear you have applied in automobile, it will take the speed, right? So that depends on their components. The same way in the electrical circuit, the time constant based on resistor and capacitor combination. Okay, resistor may be high, capacitor may be low. Okay, whatever, so the product we call it as time constant. It defines the system time constant, and higher the time constant, slower the response, because you know that, so frequency or the speed is given as general distance by time, right? Speed is given by distance by time. They are inversely proportional. If the time constant is high, automatically your speed is low. So time constant is should be small, only then you'll get a high speed or high response, and vice versa. Okay, so that is what the indication of this system time constant. Now we'll get the same type of transfer function. Whatever we have seen 1 by tau s plus 1, it is a standard transfer function of any first order system. Okay, now we'll consider an electrical. We are electronic students. No, we'll focus on the examples of electrical network only. So we'll take a simple RC circuit. Okay, simple RC circuit we'll consider. So R into C, I of t, Vi of t, V naught of t. We need to calculate the V naught of s by Vi of s, transfer function. Okay, and this is a simple first order system. First, what we'll do, we'll replace it by a Laplace network. Okay, so Laplace network, it becomes Vi of s, and this R will not change, R as it is. Capacitor becomes 1 by SC and V naught of s, and this is I of s. Okay, so you have to write the equations of this. Okay, here you will apply the KVL, you will get I of s, and that I of s will be multiplied with 1 by SC, will get V naught of s. Okay, and finally we'll club that, and we'll get the ratio V naught of s by Vi of s. This is a very simple one. That's why transfer function and all we have discussed earlier. Okay, and since you have written the internal now, so now you are in a little bit better stage to understand the things. Okay, applying loop analysis we get. Okay, so Vi of s equal to R into I of s plus 1 by SC I of s. Two elements are there. I of s is common, so R plus 1 by SC will come. Similarly, V naught of s is current into capacitor, 1 by SC into I of s. So these are the two equations. So now we have to get the transfer function. For that, V naught and Vi we have to club it. For that, from equation 1, I of s is written as Vi of s by R plus 1 by SC was common right here. So that is taken in the denominator. Okay, so that's why Vi of s by R plus 1 by SC. And now this value you can substitute in equation 2. So what you will get, V naught of s is equal to 1 by SC into Vi of s by, this here LCM is taken, R plus 1 by SC. It is R S R C into S plus 1 divided by SC. So this SC and this SC will cancel out. Okay, so what is remaining? 1 by RCS plus 1, and this VI of S will come in the denominator because it is the transfer function we need to calculate. So V naught of S by V of S is equal to 1 by RCS plus 1, and this now RCS I will replace it by a standard formula type tau S plus 1. This was what we got, right? The transfer function of any first order system. So that for now RC circuit, it is time constant is RC. Okay, so this is the transfer function of first order system, and tau equal to RC is here time constant. For a first order, it is there. So this is the same time constant you have seen in the clamper circuits also, right? So clamper, you will hold the value, right? It should not drop. Because of that time constant, you will keep it high, right? In the clamper circuit, you have discussed that. Okay, the same way, this is the time constant for first order system. So now we have understood the transfer function of a first order system is this. Okay, any system is given, so this is the standard. So now you got this, and you got the V naught of by Vi of S. Now what I will do, I need to find the unit step response. That's what asked in syllabus now. So unit step response means I will substitute for Vi of S as unit step Laplace transform, and I will multiply with this, and then you have to do partial fraction method. You have to find the value of A and B, and you have to finally take the inverse Laplace transform to get the V naught of T. Okay, so here transfer function output V naught of S, that's why time domain analysis is V naught of T you have to calculate. Okay, so that's what my topic is about, unit step response of first order system. So now we have understood what is first order system is about, and what is its transfer function, time constant, everything. Okay, so now for unit step, so what is R of S is 1 by S. This is in standard signals we have studied. Okay, so that will substitute. So the equation, whatever R of S was there, I will take it here. I'm going back to the standard formula. Okay, not this example one. So 1 by tau S plus 1 into R of S. Okay, so R of S is 1 by S, so that will come in the denominator here. So the final value I of S becomes 1 by S into tau S plus 1. Okay, so this is about the Y of S. Now what I have to do, I have to calculate the this I have to split in partial fraction method, and I need to calculate. This should be in a situation where I can apply inverse Laplace transform. If this is the case, we studied in Laplace transform earlier, right? To apply the inverse Laplace transform, it should be inverse Laplace transformable. So that form you have to bring it. Okay, so this is nowhere it is going to apply, because the Laplace transform pairs table, if we refer, we don't get any inverse Laplace for this. For that, what we'll do, we'll refer the method, we'll write like this. Okay, so that is the partial fraction method, 1 by S into tau S plus 1 equal to, I will split it as A by S plus B by tau S plus 1. Now I will try to find the value of A and B. Okay, so how we will find? So here I will take both side LCM, and I will write, so and cancel out. What is remaining left side is only 1. This S into tau S plus 1 will cancel with this denominator. So in the numerator remains here is A into tau S plus 1, because this tau S plus 1 will multiply with A, and then B will multiply with just S. Okay, so that's why B into S is there. So now what I have to do, I have to group S term separately, constant term separately. So here 1 as it is, S into, so here tau into A into S is there, so tau A, and here B into S is there, B is taken S, and this A into 1 is there, so A, that is the constant. So this is the two factors you have. So there is no S factor in this equation. If you had here S square plus S plus 1, then we can say S is 1, but nothing is there means 0. So that's why A is 1, constant is there. So here constant is 1. That's why directly A value got it as 1. You know this, how to do mathematics. Okay, no need to explain much. And then S part, nothing is there, 0. That's why tau A plus B is equal to 0. A value is 1. So that's why tau plus B equal to 0 will come. And B value will come as minus tau. Okay. So this A and B value we have calculated partial decomposition or partial fraction method. Will substitute back here. It becomes 1 by S minus tau by tau s plus 1. Okay, so then it is able to inverse Laplace transform we can apply and we can find the response. Okay, so y of s is equal to 1 by s minus tau divided by tau s plus 1. So now what I have done here is I have missed one step. Okay, you have to write down that. Okay, so this is equal to 1 by s, left side no changes, first term will be as it is 1 by s minus, so here what I will do, I will divide the numerator and denominator by tau. So then what happens, in the numerator remains 1, tau by tau is 1. Here tau s is there, so tau will cancel out, s will there. Here 1 is there, so along with 1 by tau will come. Okay, so this is how rearranging the same thing. Sorry, this is s by s plus 1 by tau will come. So now this is a inverse Laplace transform. What is the inverse Laplace transform of 1 by s? So that is what, y of t, time response, time domain analysis means y of t. So it is inverse Laplace transform of y of s. Okay, so individually will apply 1 by s is 1. And what is about this? So if you write like this, you will not understand. You have to write one more step. Okay, in notes you write down that 1 divided by s plus 1 by tau, nothing but 1 by s plus a form, e to the power minus at. A is nothing but 1 by tau is there, that's why minus t by tau. Okay, so total response is 1 minus e to the power minus t by tau. So we have understood in the previous session that the time response will have transient as well as steady state, so that you can identify here in this case the transient analysis is the minus part, minus e to the power minus t by tau, and the steady state part is 1. So that can be indicated by the graphical way like this. Okay, so it is y of t with respect to t, time domain analysis, no? Okay, and this is the final steady state. Okay, so if you are riding a bike, okay, so you are at the still now and you have to be at the speed of 50 kilometer or 60 kilometer, you have to bring it, suddenly will not happen, right? It will happen over a time. So that will be shown like this curve. Okay, and that is the final state like this. Okay, so that is the this response is about. Okay, this is the value 1 here, minus part is this curve. Okay, so together it is 1 minus e to the power minus t by tau. And if you show only minus e to the power minus t tau, it will looks like this. Okay, decreasing, minus sign is there, along with here decomposition is there. Okay, so that's why it is shown like this. Okay, so this is the steady state value and this is the transient value. So this is the first order system. No problems are there on this first order system, so just an analysis exam they can ask you. Okay, so explain the unit step response of a first order system. So you have to start from the transfer function, then you have to apply the r of s, then you have to decompose in the Laplace transformable form and apply the inverse Laplace transform. You will get that, and you have to show this diagram. Hope it is clear. So now the actual thing is the problem, everything lies on second order system. Okay, so again to start the analysis, first we need to understand second order system and some of the points regarding that. Okay, so that's why that we will discuss first. So systems with the two poles are called second order systems. Previously we had one pole, that is first order system. Okay, so we'll see about poles and all, we have the graphs and all, we'll see that. Okay, an RLC circuit, now RC circuit will not play. RC circuit is an example for first order system, whereas RLC circuit or mass spring damper system in a mechanical system are example for second order system, in that you have two poles. Okay, so RLC circuit or MSD or MSK we have studied in first module, right? Mass, spring and damper. Okay, so it's a transfer function. If you write that, so you have written the differential equation model there. That differential equation model, if you have done Laplace transform, you will get this transfer function. What is that? So after simplification I have written this. Okay, so it will come like this, 1 by s square into LC plus s into RC plus 1. In first order system you will get 1 plus SRC, that's it. That's we have seen now, though s to s maximum order is 1 here. Okay, nothing is there means 1, that's why it is first order. Here S highest order is 2. See here, highest degree is 2. That's why it is called as second order system. Okay, so this is about the electrical RLC circuit. Similarly, for mass spring damper system, it will looks like this. Okay, S square into M plus B into S plus K. What is the difference in standard form? It is no change, right? Only M, B, K. These values are changed. Here LC, RC and 1, like that. Okay, so it is having a some standard form, so that will be written now. Okay, in general, the transfer function of a second order system can be written as B divided by S square plus AS plus B. Okay, so what is this A and B value also will tell you, and that we will refer for our standard. So this in general I have written A and B. Okay, it looks like this in this form, but B and A also will have some value here in the second order system for control systems. Okay, to study and understand the response of a second order system, its transfer function is written in terms of system parameters. Okay, so second order system parameters we need to write instead of A and B. So that looks like this. For first order system also I have shown you some certain standard block diagram, right? Same way, this is the block diagram for second order system. Imagine as we proceed with the third order, fourth order, the block diagram also looks complicated and the equation also becomes lengthy. Okay, so that's why that discussion is not there for you. So we are doing only up to second order system. All the problems are based on second order system only. So now we'll see how it looks like block diagram. Same way, it is a simple closed loop system. So input and outputs are there. Forward transfer function you have now omega n square divided by S into S plus 2 xi omega n. Okay, so what is these parameters we will define now. Okay, the definition is there, then we will see. So here majorly the zeta and omega n are the two major parameters, and feedback loop is unity. Okay, one is there. So if you find the G by G 1 plus GH formula, you will get the transfer function same as that. Okay, A divided B divided by square plus AS plus B, something I written now. Same thing I will get in the place of A. I may be having omega n square, B place omega n square, and A place I have zeta omega n. Okay, so that we'll see. So this is the block diagram. Now we'll define these two parameters, that is omega n and zeta. Very important. Okay, you need to remember also. So if you write the transfer function applying the formula, you will get like this here: omega n square S square plus 2 zeta omega ns plus omega n square. Okay, so this is the standard form of transfer function, that is the standard block diagram, and this is standard transfer function. Okay, so there are two parameters are there. One is omega n, which is called as system natural frequency. Omega already you know, it is a frequency, angular frequency. N stands for here natural. Okay, and zeta or xi we call it is system damping ratio. Okay, so this is the very important. Okay, damping. So what is meant by that we'll understand. So that is we will discuss under the important system parameters of the second order systems. The first one is the system damping ratio. We denote it by this symbol xi. Okay, like this. So it is a dimensionless quantity. Dimensionless means what? It does not have any units. Okay, it is having a range. Okay, from 0 to some value. Okay, describing the decay of oscillations during a transient response. Decay of oscillations. What is decay of? So for example, if you are traveling with a constant speed in a bike, right? Suddenly you did not apply brake, just you stopped at giving acceleration. So if you stop giving acceleration, what will happen to your speed? It will decrease, right? So decrease, 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 and finally it will come to a rest. Even if you take a jump, right? So if you take a, what we call that? Okay, so step, if you step down, right? Or if you slope, if you move, so what will happen? So you will come with very high speed and then finally you will reach a stillness. So this is called as decay. Okay, decay in speed or decay in oscillations. Okay, or oscillations in case if I show like that. So this is the wave, sinusoidal wave. So this wave is decaying means what? Its amplitude is decreasing. Like see here, amplitude is decreasing, 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 and finally it will come to zero state. Initially its amplitude is high, both positive and negative peak. Then it little bit decrease from there. Then again little decrease, decrease, decrease. Like that you will have the oscillation, decreasing oscillation. Both side, positive and negative side, you will have the decreasing. That is called as decay of oscillations. Okay. So that will be indicated by this parameter, damping ratio, a dimensionless quantity describing the decay of oscillations during a transient response. Decay of oscillation normally happens during the transient response. Okay, so during steady state will not happen. Steady state part we have separate. So everything we are discussing regarding transient only. Okay, the first part. So everything you are learning new now. Okay, so it's now body is get heated. Okay, so you have to wait for notes. You have to write down that and you have to study while coming next class. Okay, so after 1 or 2 class of this, so you will familiar with all the terms, then it is easy to grasp the things. Okay, second parameter, this only, it is the ratio of actual damping to the critical damping of a system. Okay, we will define that what is actual damping and critical damping. Okay, that is the first parameter. Second parameter we have defined is omega n, which is called as system natural frequency. N stands for natural and omega stands for frequency, and it is control system, right? So system natural frequency, angular frequency at which system tends to oscillate in the absence of damping force. So damping force is what? Zeta. Okay, so zeta is the damping. If it does not apply, so your waveform will be uniform, right? Sorry, just a minute. So what is the natural frequency of the sinusoidal wave? Positive, negative, positive, negative. So here zeta value is 0. I have not applied any damping. So this is the normal waveform. Now if I apply zeta value, if I increase from 0 to some value, okay, if I apply the damping force, then this same waveform, what will happen? So initially whatever was there, it is slowly, it will decrease the, sorry, instead of showing the decreasing, I shown increasing, right? Once again. Okay, so this waveform will decay. So initially it will be high, then it will be little low, then it will be little low, little low, little low. Finally, it comes to a this state. Okay, so like this, it will do the decrease. Okay, in the both positive side and negative side, and finally it looks like a straight line. Okay, that is the steady state. So that is only defined angular frequency at which system tends to oscillate in the absence of damping force. That is natural frequency. Frequency how you calculate? So 1 unit time you will consider. Okay, take the inverse of that. You will get inverse of time. You will get frequency. That is natural frequency. Now, if we apply a damp, then we call that as a damped frequency. System damped frequency. So it is omega d. So this omega d depends on the xi value, that is the first parameter, right? Damping ratio, it depends on that. So based on that, it will have the frequency variation. So this is defined as angular frequency at which system tends to oscillate in the presence of damping force. Both similar derivation, here absence of damping force, here presence of damping force, and its equation is given as omega d equal to omega n square root of 1 minus zeta square. This is the relationship between natural and damped frequency. Remember this equation. Okay, derivation is not there. Remember this equation. Now if you see, if the damping force zeta is 0, what will happen? Square root of 1 means omega d equal to omega n. So that's what, absence of damping force, it is equal to natural frequency. If damping is applied, then it is called as damping frequency. Okay, so see the difference. Okay, so now we will come to the response of the second order systems. Okay, so far we have understood what is meant by second order system. It will have two poles. What is its standard block diagram? What is its standard transfer function? And what are its parameters? Okay, zeta and omega n, omega d, and their relation. Everything we have come to know. Okay, so now we will find the response. Same like in first order system you have done, no, unit step response. The same thing we will consider here. What is the response means here? Already you have the transfer function of second order system. In that, for R of S, you have to apply now 1 by S. And you have to find out same way inverse this one. Laplace transform, you have to find the Y of t. Okay, or C of t in this case. Okay, so that you have to find out, that is nothing but the response. So that only you have the derivation. Okay, so this second order system is very important. So that's why focus on it. Okay. So response of second order system mainly depends on the damping ratio. So remember this, okay? Damping ratio, whatever I'm saying, xi, okay? And also omega n, omega d, you remember. For any test input, the response of a second order system can be studied in 4 cases depending on this damping effect created by the value of xi. Okay, so there are 4 different cases as we have learned in MOSFET cases, right? Initially, we have not applied any VDS, just VGS applied and try to form a channel. Then what we have done, small VDS we have applied and current ID is flown through the circuit. Then we have increased the VDS. Like that, we have step by step we have learned, right? MOSFET operation. The same way now, this response of the second order system is learned in 4 different cases. What are those? First case is the simple one. We are not applying any zeta value. I have written reverse way. Okay, so first case is this. Zeta equal to 0 means there is no damping. It is called as a undamped system. So each of these zeta cases, we have a name for that system. Okay, so zeta is 0 means undamped, means damping we have not applied, absence of damping effect. Then there is a case zeta value greater than 0, less than 1. So this is called as the case under damped system. That means it is under damped, under the damping effect. This is the very important case of all the 4 cases. Okay, so you have to remember the derivation also of this case, not other cases. Okay, that other cases just will show you how it looks like. Okay, then zeta equal to 1, when it reaches this zeta value 0 to 1, when it reached 1, that is called as the critically damped system. Okay, and when the zeta value exceeds 1, it may be any value, then we call it as over damped system. Overacting, we say no, acting should be within the limits, right? So the same way here, damping, we will be using the word. If it does not apply any acting or damping, we call it as undamped systems, no act. Then 0 to 1 range is called as under damped system, underacting. Okay, then zeta equal to 1 is critically damped system. Okay, so it is its maximum, we could not tolerate much, right? That is the maximum case of zeta. Okay, and if it exceeds that, so it is a overacting. Okay, so over damped system. Like that, we have 4 different cases here. So in that, so this third one, whatever I have shown, zeta value 0 to 1, this is the important case, and this we will be considering more, this and some extent zeta equal to 1. Okay, not other cases. Okay, that we'll see one by one in the next. So before that, we'll try to define the various types of damping based on that I have named now. So we do not consider here negative damping ratio for zeta. Okay, so this is one observation you can see here. Zeta value should be considered from 0 to 1, positive value. Why it is not considered negative? Because we are considering the control system should be of stable type. First thing is you have to design a control system. Second thing, it should be stable. Okay, when we take zeta value negative, so the damping actually means the oscillations are increasing in amplitude, which results in unstable system. I applied a positive value, that's why damping, because of that oscillations decrease. If I apply a negative, okay, what will happen? This sinusoidal oscillation happening, so its amplitude will increase. It will increase, it will increase like that. Okay, and this is nowhere called as a stable system. Keep on increasing at both positive as well as negative side. Okay, so this is not acceptable in our systems. It is called as unstable system. That's why zeta value or xi value we are not considering negative. Okay, that's why it is kept under note. Okay, so many of you have doubts, so that this note will clear your doubt. Okay, then damping and types of damping. So damping is an effect created in an oscillatory system that reduces, restricts, or prevents the oscillation in the system. It may reduces or it may restrict oscillation, or it may prevent oscillation. Okay, so anything, it is called as damping. Okay, so system can be classified as follows under the damping effect. These are the 4 different, and it's there. So this I will consider it for tomorrow. Okay, so time is running. We'll end the session here only, and we'll continue in the next session.